An SEC writer called the Big Ten trash and a fraud and piled on Indiana and Oregon and USC for good measure. And it wasn't Paul Feinbaum, by the way. I will expose this person and debunk him. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked on Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked on Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We're here every day. And if you could share, like, and follow, that'd be great. Plus, you can hype YouTube videos too. All right, let's jump into this. We got Oregon and some other teams are getting ripped by SEC writers. We're frauds over here. Well, Big Ten news and some hoop schedules and our Big Ten classics this weekend. Some good ones. But there's another sign here that the SEC has an inferiority complex with the Big Ten. We talk about this all the time on this podcast. Somebody named Joe Goodman, who writes an Alabama newsletter, says that the Big Ten is the biggest fraud in college football. The biggest fraud in college football. Okay. All right. Number 1 ranked, number 2 ranked. We'll see where this goes. Somebody needs to remind this guy that the last time I checked, there were Big Ten logos on the last 2 national championship banners hanging in Ann Arbor and in Columbus. And based on the latest college football rankings, we might hang a 3rd banner this year, right? We got Ohio State's number 1, Indiana's 2, Oregon ranked 8th. Yeah, I don't think that's a fraudulent conference at all. See, these SEC hacks from Paul Feinbaum on down, they get so twisted that ever since we all started paying players legally, it leveled the playing field to where the SEC was. All these, and then it's been leveled, and they can't wrap their heads around it. They're not the best anymore. Anybody who claims that Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon are frauds clearly haven't spent any time watching Big Ten football in recent memory. And that's the thing I've noticed about these SEC homers. They only watch SEC football. They have no clue what superior football, what kind of superior football is taking place around the country. No clue whatsoever. I mean, did you just watch the slugfest this weekend with Oregon at Iowa in the rain? How fun was that? You know, did he not see Fernando Mendoza take a team on his back and lead them to victory at Beaver Stadium in front of 107,000 people against a defense full of future NFL stars? Did you not see that? Doesn't seem like it. And by the way, he took a gratuitous shot at Indiana for being the losingest program in the history of college football. And, you know, it was one of the things he was actually right about. They happen. They've lost more games than anybody else. But with the right coach and some support, anybody could turn it around in just 2 years. He alluded to that. This Goodman guy literally wrote that most of the Big Ten teams are trash and the conference is a forgery. I mean, you mean the conference that, you know, Ohio State beat Texas out of the SEC and destroyed Tennessee out of the SEC in the playoffs just last year? It hadn't been a full calendar year yet. The conference where Michigan, without an actual true quarterback, beat Alabama in a bowl game. By the way, that was the second time they beat Alabama in 364 days. Are we sure we want to rip on the Big Ten? The conference where Illinois punched South Carolina in the mouth in the bowl game. The conference where USC beat Texas A&M in a bowl game and also opened the season by beating LSU. That conference, right? And Goodman, this is all recent history, like now-ish. You better open your eyes and get over it. But the problem with the SEC ignorance is, and just like last year, you know, they think that they want 5 or 6 teams in the college football playoffs. They deserve it. They're the SEC. And they're afraid that the Big Ten will take up too many of their precious spots so that their 3 lost teams can get in because they think they're just better because it just means more. This writer graciously, and by the way, note my sarcasm, will allow 2 Big Ten teams in. This year, all right, Indiana and Ohio State. He said everybody else, including Oregon, can spend the offseason trying to figure out how to reinvent the Pac-12. It's a shot at USC, too. I got bad news for the SEC because this is the time of year when their teams will start losing a spot here or there on the rankings each week because of their unofficial bye-week vacations. And by that, I mean playing cupcake teams out of schedule, out of conference in November. I mean, Ole Miss just played the Citadel last week. Great. They won 49-0. Did you notice they dropped a spot in the polls this Tuesday? All right. And by the way, that's Oregon's right there nipping at their heels in the standings, in the rankings. This week, Tennessee hosts New Mexico State. Texas A&M will host Samford in 2 weeks. Not Stanford, Samford. That week, Georgia will play Charlotte, one of the worst teams in college football. Alabama will host Eastern Illinois. Auburn plays Mercer. LSU plays Western Kentucky. You get the idea here. They're going to win those games. But it seems like the committee might punish them by dropping them a spot here or there. And collectively, it could make a difference. I mean, trust me, this college football committee, they're going to drop these teams, just like they did Ole Miss. Meanwhile, the Big Ten, the frauds, as this guy says, it's going to feature a USC team with a legitimate chance to make the college football playoffs, taking on ranked Iowa this week, and then top 10 Oregon next week, in a game that's really going to mean something. And we cap it off with the biggest of all big rivalries at the end. Number 1, Ohio State taking on Michigan, currently ranked number 18th, on the rise. In fact, I pointed out Michigan, if they win out and beat Ohio State, they're going to make the playoffs. That's another Big Ten team that's going to get in and take one of your precious SEC spots in the college football playoffs. By the way, that if Michigan gets in, because that'll give them 4 teams. 4. You want 2? They're going to get 4 with that path. I've described it before. Like Ohio State, Indiana. I think the winner of the Oregon USC game gets in. The loser does not. Although, hey, we can make an argument for them both to get in. And then you see Michigan running up. Let's get 5. Let's get just to irritate the SEC people. Let's get 5 Big Ten teams in. That would be awesome. Either way, the arrogance of the typical SEC fan and or writer or media type, they need to stop and look around and see the college football has caught up with them and in some cases passed them by. We'd love to hear your comments on this one. I know I'll hear from SEC people. Big Ten people will agree with me on this, 100%, by the way. We are here every day. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. We talk all things Big Ten, all 18 teams, news, analysis of that news, opinion on that news, all right here. It makes us very unique. We want you to be a part of it every single day. And we could ask you if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. Because if you're a Big Ten fan, and I'm presuming you are, if you're listening to me or watching me right now, you know other Big Ten people, and they might not know we're out here every single day. Let them know we're out here. Share, follow, and like. That would really help us out. Thank you very much. Always appreciate that. All right, there's plenty we need to get to here as we're winding down this week, getting ready for another batch of games coming up. I want to explore the Washington situation. Jedd Fisch, is he staying in Washington or not? Mike Locksley, is he going to survive at Maryland? Is he coaching for his job over there? Take a quick look at men's basketball, and then we'll have our Big Ten classics and live action. That's all coming up in just a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Watching games is exciting, but if you got a little something on it, it's even more exciting, and that's where FanDuel comes in. For example, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, no problem. You ride the hot hand, and FanDuel has live in-game betting right there on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can combine your live bets with your same-game parlays. Get a chance at a bigger payout if you do that. This is what keeps all these games exciting. You will find you will watch more NBA games you wouldn't even watch before, in addition to your favorite teams. Hot tip, Miami overs. Take the overs on the Miami Heat. They're scoring like crazy this year. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. We really appreciate you everydayers out there. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Always appreciate you. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go. You can check out yesterday's for a second listen. We also have links there for your favorite Big Ten schools for school merchandise. Put their school logo on your shirts, hats, t-shirts, all that stuff right there in time for Christmas. Check it out, talkbig10.com. All right, let's talk about these coaches in the Big Ten. Mike Locksley, he does not think he is coaching for his job at Maryland. Now, Maryland, as is well documented on this podcast, started out the season 4-0, but they've dropped 5 straight, so they're sitting at 4-5 as they prepare for what I think will be a tough game at Illinois. Head coach Mike Locksley does not feel like he is coaching for his job, despite these struggles in conference games and these mid to late season swoons. They play in streaks. They win in streaks. They lose in streaks. They did this last year too. On one side, the Terps under Mike Locksley, they've won 18 straight non-conference games. That's pretty good. I think that's the best in the country. 18 straight. But when it comes to Big Ten games, he's just 17-45. And overall, that adds up to a 37-46 record since he's been there. He is under contract through the 2027 season, and his buyout would be $13 million if Maryland decided to part ways at the end of this season. Also keep in mind that Maryland has a new athletic director. And that fact alone historically can mean that changes could be coming. The new AD is Jim Smith. He took over in May when he arrived from the Atlanta Braves organization. He's not even a football guy. He's a baseball guy. And he was asked about Locksley returning in 2026, and he gave the standard stock answer that, football coaching situation will be determined at the end of the season after an evaluation. How many times have we heard that? After facing Illinois this weekend, the Terps face Michigan and Michigan State to close out the season. Got to get a win or two there. I like Mike Locksley. I will tell you, I'll take a little sidebar here for a moment. I will never forget his press conference at Big Ten Media Days this past summer. Things did not go well last year. And it was one of the most raw and honest answers. Sometimes coaches give coach speak, or they try and frame things as best as possible with their answers. They don't want to create a stir or any controversy. He said the problem with his team last year was that he had a divided locker room. I mean, when you hear a coach talk about a divided locker room, that's usually, a blow to their careers, and it's going to be short-lived. But he said, look, we got name, image, and likeness. We got some kids making some money, and we got some other kids not making money, and it divided my locker room. And I'm not going to have that happen again this year, even if I have to put my desk right in the middle of the locker room this year. And so I just thought it was a beautifully honest answer, and I really appreciate it. I always liked Mike Locksley, and I liked him even more when I heard that. But he's got to win some more football games in order to stay. Now, here's another thing in his favor. This Malik Washington, a quarterback they have, is the real deal. I think he's going to get Big Ten Freshman of the Year. They want to keep him, and I presume this kid likes Locksley. They've got the #1 lineman recruit in the country from Maryland coming next year. You don't want to lose him. So I don't know. Maybe they run it back one more time and try and get things going in the right direction in what would be Malik Washington's sophomore year with a little bit of experience. So we'll see. Now let's talk about Jedd Fisch. He's not leaving Washington. And, apparently his family is still in Arizona from when he came to Washington. He never bothered to move them to Washington when he took over the job almost 2 seasons ago. And so there's been a lot of speculation that he wants to leave for another gig. But Fisch, he quieted that storyline. He says, look, my daughter's finishing school in Arizona. He noted that due to his coaching career, his daughter's been in 5 schools in 8 years, and he wants a little stability for her so she can finish out. I can relate to that as a parent. So his name does come up a lot with jobs. UCLA, for example, his name's coming up there. He was once the offensive coordinator there. He was the interim coach there in 2017. Florida is his alma mater. That job's open right now. So his name bounces around a little bit. But he says he loves coaching quarterback Damon Williams Jr., who has all sorts of potential. and other young players at Washington. And he says the school has made some investments in the football program, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. He's 49 years old. He has coached for 11 college or pro teams since 2008. He's never been at one spot more than 3 years. So he's wrapping up year 2 here at Washington. Got a 12-10 record as we speak. Got 5 years remaining on the deal, averaging $7.75 million per year. So makes a nice living. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Update you on the story we did a few days ago on UCLA leaving the Rose Bowl. People at UCLA will tell you this is a done deal. They're gone. They want to go. They want to move to SoFi Stadium instead of playing in the Rose Bowl. And that's, of course, the home of the Rams and Chargers. And the city of Pasadena and the Rose Bowl operating company filed a request for a preliminary injunction and temporary restraining order in Los Angeles County Superior Court this week in an attempt to halt UCLA's departure. According to this filing, the plaintiffs point out that the current lease specifically in writing prohibits UCLA from conducting home football games from any other facility in LA or Orange County. They can't, if they're going to have a home game in LA or Orange County, it's got to be at the Rose Bowl. UCLA would have to pay $40 to $60 million to break this lease, which runs through the year 2043. It was earlier reported 2041, but it's 2043. And the city of Pasadena claims that it would suffer near $1 billion in losses through the whole area, hotels and advertising and all that over the next 17 years if the Bruins leave. So interesting. I just saw that right when we were taking the airwaves with our podcast here, that there has been some punishment for Michigan State going back to the Mel Tucker era, in which they used players who are not eligible. Looks like they're absconding some victories, some games, and 3 years probation. I think they're going to lose 14 wins. We'll have more on this on tomorrow's podcast here on Lockdown Big Ten. Got a decent slate of Big Ten basketball tonight, Thursday night. A couple games. Speaking of Michigan State, 17th ranked Spartans at 2-0, taking on San Jose State, who are looking for their first win. That game will be tonight at 6:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network, 3:30 Pacific. And then number 2 Purdue at 2-0, taking on number 8 Alabama, also 2-0, 7 p.m. on ESPN2. So a little college basketball as well. By the way, yesterday, when we talked about the players of the week, which we do in the middle of the week every week with the football, we added the basketball players too, players of the week throughout the Big Ten. If you want to go check that out for a second listen. We also have a lot of features, if you're new on our podcast, that we do on a regular basis. Every Monday, we do my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend with all the games. Tuesdays, we're on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. We do Tuesday tweets. If you send us one, we'll put it here on the podcast on Tuesday. Wednesdays, we power rank various things during the season. We'll power rank the standings as we see them. And then on Thursdays, which is what we're going to do here today, even though we're not affiliated with the Big Ten Network, but we do like the same things. Big Ten Network does a great job. If there's a game on the schedule, on the Big Ten schedule, they'll go pull out matchups from these teams from yesteryear and play the Big Ten Classics. So you get to go relive down memory lane. I always like those. And then they usually have a double or triple header of live Big Ten action on Saturday. Interesting schedule this weekend. So we'll have that, Big Ten Classics and live action coming up in just a minute. Plus, don't forget Friday, tomorrow, we preview every single Big Ten game. And then we close it out with our pigskin picks. We go on the record. We're never afraid to give you our opinion on that. So that's all coming up on tomorrow's program. But coming up next, we've got our Big Ten Classics and live action all in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. When the opening whistle blows on a brand new repair that you and your crew have to do, get that crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. I mean, if you don't have parts, you're sitting idle. You're losing money. You don't want to do that. Supply House will help you avoid the bad and keep you moving in the right direction and making money, and that's good. You can join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com and sign up free and use the promo code SHColleges5, number 5, SHColleges5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Supplyhouse.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at the Big Ten Network schedule for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These will all be Eastern times. And we're going to tell you when their Big Ten Classics and Big Ten Live action taking place, their college football schedule, the games that they're going to air there. We will do that. If you're audio only, Spotify or Apple, no problem. We'll describe it to you. We're just going to put the grid up here, full screen. If you're on the video, you know this. We'll pick it up Friday, November 14th. And the first one we'll mention is at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. They've got a Northwestern football classic, Michigan at Northwestern. It's like I told you. There's a matchup this weekend. They go find the old ones, the oldies but goodies, as Michigan is playing against Northwestern this weekend at Wrigley Field. All right, so the Northwestern Football Classic, Michigan at Northwestern. This is from 2000. So this is a quarter of a century ago, 25 years ago. Damian Anderson rushing for 268 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Zach Kustak scored twice for the 21st ranked Wildcats, including his game-winning touchdown with 20 seconds remaining in their 54-51 victory over the 12th ranked Wolverines. I remember that shootout. Over 100. They overhit on that one, right? At 1 o'clock Eastern, they have an Indiana football classic. Where's Indiana? Who are they taking on this weekend? Wisconsin, of course. So they got an Indiana and Wisconsin throwback from 2020. This will be the COVID year, by the way. Jack Tuttle passed for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns as the 12th ranked Hoosiers beat the 16th ranked Badgers 14-6. At 2 o'clock, they've got a Michigan State football classic, Michigan State at Penn State from 2018. A touchdown reception by Felton Davis III with 19 seconds to go gave Michigan State the upset victory over 8th ranked Penn State in Happy Valley. How about that? And then at 4 o'clock Eastern, a Washington football classic. They're going to air the 2001 Rose Bowl, the 2001 Washington versus Purdue. Marcus Tuiasosopo and the 4th ranked Huskies defeating Drew Brees and the 14th ranked Boilermakers at the Rose Bowl 34-24 back in 2001. Let's move forward to Saturday. And we'll pick up the action at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific for those of you out at the West Coast. If you missed Friday night's Minnesota-Oregon game, well, they'll have their Big Ten football in 60s where they chop up the game, edit it snap by snap, and condense it down to an hour. So if you missed it Friday night, Saturday morning, get up Minnesota and Oregon, Big Ten football in 60. They'll get you covered there. Then at 10 o'clock a.m., Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific, their Big Ten tailgate show that they do every week. This week, they'll be over there at Illinois. Take a look at the Fighting Illini, but they'll cover everybody, talk about everything going on, stories, analysis of the entire Big Ten, and then that will lead into their 11:30 a.m. Eastern Big Ten countdown to kickoff, where they really get you dialed in to the kickoff of all the games and, of course, the games that they'll be carrying. And they've got a doubleheader on Saturday. And they're going to start it off at noon. So Big Ten football, Wisconsin at Indiana. This is the last home game of the regular season for the Indiana Hoosiers, taking on a Wisconsin team that's coming off a win, finally. And then at 3:30, game 2 of their doubleheader, Iowa at USC. And interesting footnote with that game. You know, Iowa played at home against Oregon in a freezing downpour rain, right? Well, they got some atmospheric river, which means just a bunch of moisture is coming in from the Pacific Ocean into Southern California. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they're going to get like 4 or 5 inches of rain, just nonstop rain. Now, it rains differently out there on the West Coast. It's not as heavy as what they saw at Iowa, but it comes rolling down those mountains. You could have some flooding problems, and it'll be wet. But I don't think it will affect this game that much at the Coliseum. But just footnote it there, the possible weather conditions. 2 ranked teams going at it, Iowa and USC. That's at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network. As we look ahead to Sunday, We'll pick it up at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. The Final Drive. The Final Drive is a show they air repeatedly, late Saturdays, overnight, all day Sundays. We just pick it up to start off our Sunday in case you missed all the action and maybe missed the late games. You can wrap up the day's Big Ten action featuring extensive highlights and analysis, and then they go into those Big Ten football in 60s where they edit it from snap to snap and condense them into 1 hour. At 11 a.m. Eastern is the Michigan at Northwestern game at Wrigley Field. At noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, the UCLA at Ohio State game from Saturday night. They'll do that. At 10 p.m., we're jumping fast forward here because we're going to assume you're watching a lot of NFL football at this point. Penn State at Michigan State. And then at 11:30, they'll air the Iowa at USC game. That'll be at 8:30 Pacific time for those of you on the West Coast. Also, again, the Iowa USC game, I want to mention, that's the game we are going to go live after. If you're an everydayer, you know we're out here with multiple podcasts throughout the week, but we go live on Saturdays. We pick a game on the schedule that we like, and we go live after it. So you get my immediate raw post-game reaction of that game, plus a complete recap of everything going on in the Big Ten, and we'll preview the night games as well. But we'll do that, and I get your real live time comments as well. That's what makes that so much fun. We do it every Saturday. We have a blast. It's very successful. We have a great time with it. So after the Iowa USA game, that'll end about 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, 7 p.m. and 4 p.m. on the West Coast. So join us for that. Mark your calendars and join us for our live podcast that we're going to do on Saturday. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. In the meantime, we're here every day. If you're new, thanks. Welcome aboard. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out a lot as well. Leave us a comment, too, if you're watching on YouTube. Cover all 18 teams with news, analysis of that news, opinion of that news. That's what makes us so unique. Many ways for you to interact with us in the meantime at Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. Don't forget our website, talkbig10, 10.com, where we have all of our podcasts. You go back and check out yesterday's for a second listen in case you missed it. Plus, you can click on the logo from your favorite school. They have tons of Big Ten school merchandise there, shirts, hats, T-shirts, all that in time for the holidays. And we're here every day for you, having a blast. One other reminder for all you college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present the college football kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, and former college star Jesse Holley. And all Locked On's experts put it all together, getting you ready for all the games over the weekend. It's a college football preview that only Locked On can do. So catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Tomorrow, we preview every Big Ten team, every Big Ten game going into the weekend, and we cap it off with our pigskin picks as we go on the record. So until then, thanks for checking us out today. I will see you tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon.